Hello. So today I'm going to talk about Travis Baldree's Legends and Lattes. Legends and Lattes is a fantasy book for the reader who maybe fancies something a little bit lighter. As it says on the front cover, high fantasy, low stakes. The premise of this book is very, very simple. A warrior orc called Viv, who has been battling all of her life, going on many adventures, working with crews of mercenaries to kind of kill bad guys, find hidden treasure, all of those things, has decided that she wants to retire. On one of her missions, she encounters a drink called coffee, which the world doesn't really know. It's only drunk by dwarves, and she drinks it in this kind of tiny dwarf tea shop, and she absolutely falls in love with it. And at the start of the novel, she does one last mission where she finds this kind of stone, and that's all that she needs, and she's going to take her life savings and find the perfect location to open up her coffee shop. And the rest of the book is just her encountering every single hurdle that you might encounter when opening up a coffee shop. She has to find the perfect coffee machine. She has to find the perfect architect to help build this sort of ruin that she's found and turn it into a shop. She has to find the perfect assistant. She has to figure out the perfect menu, what food she should have, how she should build her kitchen. Her kitchen's getting too hot. How can she create ventilation in there? How can she get people into the shop? Does she give away free samples? It's full of all of the things that anyone who might be opening up their own coffee shop will encounter. And that's it. It's that simple. It is a cozy, warm, heartwarming, lovely little tale of a warrior orc starting her own coffee shop. And the people she meets are such wonderful characters, and they're all just trying to do their best to create the most perfect coffee shop they possibly can. It's a page turner. You want to know how Viv is going to handle the next problem she might encounter. I'm going to tell you right now that I think this book is the perfect palate cleanser book. So imagine a scenario where you've just read Hanaka Yanagihara's A Little Life, and you're about to read The Ruins. And you're thinking to yourself, oh, those are two heavy books in my TBR. Maybe I should sort of section it out a little bit with something a little lighter. Well, then this would definitely be the book to do it if you're into fantasy. It's a palate cleanser. It doesn't do anything other than just be a simple, nice, cozy, heartwarming story. When I was reading this one, I had heard about how lovely it was, and I thought to myself, do you know what? On a day off or an afternoon off, I decided to go to a coffee shop that had a fireplace, which was harder to find than you might imagine, but I found it, and I sort of sat in a Chesterfield and just had coffee and read this book in one go. I've just thought of a fun side game. What are the two most horrific books that you can imagine with the gentlest, nicest little palate cleanser that you could put in the middle? So what would your two like, this horrific book and this really heavy going book, but I would read this gentle story in the middle? Let me know in the comments below. So as I was sat there in this coffee shop by the fireplace on the Chesterfield, I also decided to listen to the audiobook of this as well, as I really enjoy reading and listening to the audiobook at the same time. I just get a lot of pleasure from it. And it is in fact Travis Baldree who narrates this story as well. Now I know some people are a bit like, oh, the author's narrating their own book, but apparently Travis Baldree's profession, what he is known for, is a voice artist. He is an audiobook narrator, and he does a fantastic job with this one. I'm really struggling for anything else to say, so I think this is going to be a short one because it is so simple, because it is just a kind of nice, warm, snuggle up with a blanket, winter kind of book where you can kind of smell the pastry in the coffee shop. You can kind of like the feeling the steam coming off of the coffee machine, the lattes, the music playing in the shop, the struggles to get it going, all of those things. They're all quite simple things, and actually if I was to keep listing, I would just ruin every sort of plot point in the book. I will say that there is something that keeps this a little bit more rooted in fantasy, in which we have a kind of organisation, almost like the mafia, that does expect payment from any kind of organisation that opens up in their city. And that causes a lot of tension for Viv and her friends as they're trying to go about running their business. The prose is simple but really smooth, and I think that Travis Baldree, I think this is his first novel, has done a really great job at keeping things simple. It's descriptive where it needs to be but not over the top, and it gives you a really good sense of place and does really well at capturing the kind of smells and feel of a coffee shop. I'm going to give this book 3.5 stars. Now, it's one of those books where I can say there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but because of the simplicity of it and what it's trying to do, I don't think I could bump it up any higher than 3.5. But in my world, 3.5 means very good. So, if you are looking for something that's just going to take your mind off of things, it's easygoing, and you can just chill out with it and have a really nice time, then I would suggest that you pick this one up. However, if you don't like fantasy at all, fantasy's not your thing, then I'm still not sure if you're going to like it. I might say it's a good one for people who don't like high fantasy to dip their toes into, but I still think part of the magic of this book is for lovers of the fantasy genre to maybe kick back a little and try something a little different that still kind of explores those fantasy tropes. And there you go, that's my review of Legends and Lattes. I've heard a few people saying that they don't quite like this front cover. They prefer the other front cover, but I kind of love this front cover. I believe the other front cover was this, which is all right, but actually, I think I prefer that. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and I will see you all on the next one.